Hi, my name is Ed Diaz, and in today's video I wanted to show you the Roland Juno-Gi. I'm going to explain what the top panel of the Juno-Gi means so that we understand how to get to some of the cool features that are just inside of it. Today's video is aimed at more of being like an intro to the Juno-Gi so you can see what it is. In future videos I'll show you some cool tricks that I've already kind of found out, and we'll go learn them together. Alright, so let's do it. Alright, now that the Juno-Gi is on, let's go ahead and learn one of the most important things we can learn on any keyboard, and that's how to access sounds. So if we see this blue strip right on top of the Juno-Gi, this gives us our categories of sound. Okay, so we see stuff like piano, keyboard, organ, bass, guitar, etc. So the way to access them, say if I'm looking for an electric piano, just press the piano button, and then if we look just to the right of the screen on the bottom, you see it says enter, and then list is in blue. Hit the enter list button, go back down. Now we've opened up the subcategory that lies within the keyboard. So if we just go ahead and you see the arrow button in Roland speak, that means hey, there's more that way. So we'll go ahead and use the cursors over here and cursor to the right. So let's say I cursor to the right here. Now you see pop piano, electric grand, electric piano 1 and 2. So let's focus in on this electric piano section, subcategory, and we see stage EP. Now I can go ahead and just play it on the keyboard, that's fine. Or if you just hold down up the preview button, which is just to the left of the screen, hold this down, and we get a very nice musical example or preview of how that sound could be used. Let's do another one. Let's go ahead and listen to another sound, and maybe vintage EP. Let's hold down the preview button again. Once again, another very nice musical example of how I could use that. Let's say I wanted to go ahead and use use some strings in my playing. Well, once again, I hit the string category section, and there is the arrow, so that means hey, there's more over here. So once again, let's press the cursor button just to the right of the screen, and once again, cursors are just right here, the arrow buttons. So I'm going to hit the cursor to the right, and you can see I have different strings in here. So let's go ahead and listen to one. Once again, hold down the preview button, and we get a very nice musical example of that sound. It's very easy, right? So let's go ahead and press exit, and the exit is right over here. Exit. Press to exit, and there's our sound. So pretty easy. So if you want to access any of the sounds, you can do the old-fashioned way, just spin the dial wheel. That's the way many of us grew up in the keyboard world. Or make it easier on yourself, and you just choose a category, and then press the enter button. So now if I go over here to the left, okay, you see I have a USB, okay, MIDI player. This is designed to go a thumb drive to go in here, and this will play back songs, be it WAV, AFF, MP3, and even standard MIDI files. So it's very easy, drag and drop, and then you can play your thumb drive through there. So very easy. Also, I know it's hard to see, there's a couple of buttons here, the assignable S1 and S2, so we can go ahead and assign different control changes or parameters to that very easily right in here. Of course, your pitch bend mod wheel right there, and also to be used with this song player is this button, which actually will put a song list. So if I press the button, right now I don't have a USB in there, but it gives me a list of the songs that I can play. Okay, so I can go ahead and forward and backward in the list, adjust my level of that particular audio file that's playing, set or cancel if I want to take out the vocals of a song. So that's kind of cool right in there. And then also from that same section, I can go ahead and have play and stop right there. So that's very cool to have that in there. So you can use this if you have to do a show and you bring your own tracks. You can do that very easily. Now if we look over here a little bit, there she is, the infamous D-beam. Of course, a lot of cool things you do with this. Solo synth, expression, so we can use this to control our volume, and then of course you can assign it to do whatever you want. Maybe a pitch bend, maybe a filter sweep, whatever. Kind of cool. In this section right here is the main volume. Okay, your minimum, your maximum. That's it right there. Now in this section that says keyboard, here's some cool functions that a lot of time we'll get missed. Okay, one, if you hit keyboard MIDI controller, this turns this into a MIDI controller to be used with your computer. Okay, so we can use this in conjunction with software synthesizers. So that's a very cool one. It instead of you having to go into the menu and adjust all these settings, all you do is press MIDI controller and it's set for you. Any settings that you need are right here. So very, very easy. Okay, let me get out of here. All right, now let's go to the arpeggio button. Press the arpeggio, and if you notice in here, there's a lot of different cool arpeggios within here. Okay, so we can spin the wheel, we can look through some of the arpeggios, and there's a whole bunch, and I'll do a separate video on this so you can go through them and variations, how you want that arpeggio to play, and velocity, and also the octave range. So that's another very cool button. Also, here's the chord memory. I have a video on this already out, so this is really neat. This is probably the most usable chord memory that Roland has made thus far. It actually, instead of giving you a shape of one chord, it actually gives you the form of depending on the key. So depending on the key and depending what note you play, the chord will change accordingly. So it makes it very handy to use. Let's go ahead and check out split. If you want to easily split the keyboard, just press the split button right here, and then you could say, this is what I want in the lower split, this is what I want in the upper split, and then you can adjust your volumes between there. Pretty cool, huh? So that's very easy. Also, tempo right here, we just hit the tempo button. So this is the tempo button, and this is where we can either do a tap tempo, we can link up our tempo to the recorder for our drums, or we can spin the dial wheel. Any of those will work. Okay, let me go ahead and close that out. And of course, transpose. I know a lot of people have mixed feelings on this, the transpose button, and that is right here. I have some different friends that don't want me to show this because they think all keyboard players should learn all the keys. But sometimes you get an emergency situation and they change to a key you're not comfortable with, or it's has a lot of difficult chords that maybe you're not sure if you can pull off right there. So to use the transpose, and I'm going to probably get grief about this, hold down the transpose button and you see it says C to C. So we use the minus plus button, and we can easily change the key of the keyboard. Very nice, very easy, and it's on right there. So that's all you have to do to use the transpose button. Very cool. And of course, here are the octaves. If you want to change octaves, shift up or shift down, and I believe it's -3 and +3. So if you want to shift that, you can do that. Now if we go to the next section right here, this is our menu section, in which I'll go into later. This is how we'll adjust all the live set edits, effects edit, layer split system. This is kind of a cool to use when you want to set up pedals in there, and of course utilities to factory reset the keyboard and format thumb drives and SD cards and all that stuff. So that's kind of what that's for. Preview, we already went through that when we were checking out sounds. Numeric, now this is cool. Say you have, in the old days of keyboards, we used to memorize the numbers of the sounds because there was no user bank, there was no favorite. You just had to memorize your favorite sounds. So what numeric is for, if you press the numeric button, if I know the number of the patch, which I'm still learning the numbers on the patch, and so if I go 1, 2, 7, and I can go ahead and press the enter button, and I just easily put that patch right in there. So once again, if I know the number that I'm looking for, maybe 234, and press enter, now I just loaded that in there. So it's like having a 10 key at your disposal if you need it. So that's kind of cool. Now here's another cool feature right here. Like I said, in the old days, you either spun to get to your sounds, spun the dial wheel, or you use numeric and memorize all your favorite sounds, or you can go ahead and use this favorite bank. Okay, this is to turn it on, and this is to switch the bank. So right now, if I hold down the button, it's saying it's in bank 0. Okay, if I go over here, now I just changed it to bank 3. Okay, and there's nothing registered. I'm going to show you very quickly how to register sounds. So let's say I go through and find a sound I like, maybe a jazz chorus. First off, let me go ahead and switch it to bank 0. Just like I would with a car, hold down the on and off button once you're in the bank you want, and press any buttons. So now that jazz guitar sound is registered to bank 0, number 1. Let's go ahead and do another sound. Hold it down, press number 2, now to 0.2. Hold this down, now to 0.3. Now check it out. So if this is off, they just act as the category. That's fine. If I have it on, it's in favorites. Now I can go ahead and move to those specific sounds that I saved in there. Now remember, there are technically 10 banks of favorite, and each bank holds 10 favorites. So you can have up to 100 favorite sounds at your fingertips if you need them. So that's something that's really cool in there. Now let's talk about the sound a little bit, because we're going over to this section, and this is the section right here. Maybe move in. This section right here, we actually see a lot of the buttons that we use very often. The increment, decrement button, so up a sound, down, +1, -1 basically. And then you see the cursors buttons. Okay, that's what these are. The arrows are the cursors. And of course the right button, so that way if you save a sound or you make a sound, you can save it. Okay, you make any changes to the keyboard, you can save it. Okay, so that's cool right there. So, and of course exit, enter, and shift. Now here's something really cool to know about this keyboard. In previous Roland keyboards in the past, we always had a couple of different sections. We would have a patch section, which had just single sounds, and then we would have a live set or performance section. What's been done in this keyboard that's really kind of cool is they've gone in there and they've gotten rid of the patch versus performance section. So now if you want layers and splits, they're already there. So check this out. If I hold down the shift button, it's saying there's voice 1, upper 2, lower 1, lower 2. So say I want a string. That's probably what's in here. I can actually hear a string already in there. Okay, hold down the shift button again, and maybe I want to make it a little bit thicker, add some more sound to it. So let's hear it now. Even a thicker sound. So if I want to change the sounds that are in here, hold down the shift button and hit live set, and it corresponds with button number 5. Hit that, and you can see these are the sounds that are in here. So if I wanted to, I can make a sound real quick just by hitting the enter list button, and let's say I want to use maybe an electric piano. We'll go ahead and use that. That's fine. On this one, maybe strings, and this one we'll go ahead and I'm going to use the choir. We'll go maybe switch to over here, and maybe go to one of these over here, maybe like a Vox pad. Go enter, and now very quickly I just did a layer. And if I don't like the way that sounds and you want to go ahead and have it adjust the levels, I can adjust the levels there very quickly and then bring them up or down. And once again, I can use my cursor right here and maybe bring up more string, more of that humming sound, and very quickly I have a real nice. Very nice, very easy sound. And then once I have the sound how I like it, I can actually write it into the keyboard and save it. So let's pretend I was going to save this. I could always go and name it whatever I want. Doesn't matter right now. Hit the next button, and I have a whole bunch of users, 256 users where I could save my favorite custom live sets. Okay, kind of cool. And if something's already there in the spot that I want to write in, and I'm not sure how it sounds, I can press the compare button, hear what's there, and if I don't want to write over it, I can move over to the next slot and write it. So very easy to do. All right, let's move over to the next section of the keyboard.